We had talked earlier about resumption of schools and the dump sites at Kudu, but before we get to that, let's just step forward a bit and then we'll come back. A major shift in the U.S. immigration policy sparking debate over who gets to travel and at what price. A proposal linked to the Trump administration would require visitors from 38 countries to post a refundable visa bond of up to $15,000 just to be considered for entry. Supporters say the bond would curb visa overstay. Critics argue that it turns borders into paywalls, effectively reserving mobility for the wealthy. The payment does not guarantee a visa and comes alongside tougher screening and entry rules. Beyond tourism, the impact could ripple through families seeking reunification, small business owners, academics, artists, and professionals who depend on short-term U.S. travel. Diplomats warn that the policy risks straining ties and damaging America's image in a world where movement increasingly shapes opportunity. I'm being joined in the studio by Kimiebi Ebiénfa, spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Mr. Ebiénfa, that news of a $15,000 visa bond came as a shock to many Nigerians. I do know a young man who was planning on travel this year, at least to the US, but suddenly it goes like, forget it, I don't have 15,000. I mean, what's the ministry thinking about?
I think first and foremost, to be very fair to them, it's not just 15,000 outright. It is 5,000, 10,000, and then 15,000.
Okay.
So
it's like a range.
They also specify that your intentions of what you want to do over there will determine what the consular officer that will interface with you during visa interview will compel you to pay.
Okay. And
also, paying the visa bond or having the resources to pay is not a guarantee that you'll be issued a visa. I think I'll need to make clarification that when it comes to visa, the authority or the prerogative lies with the issuing country. You can determine who want to come into your borders. You can determine who you will admit into your country.
So as it is now, going by this, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000.
Yes.
The U.S. has just said, forget about the U.S. if you don't have up to 5,000 naira sitting somewhere that is not budgeted.
Yeah.
Forget the U.S.
Yes.
And that's what a lot of people are wondering. There are many in Nigeria who, and not just in Nigeria, across the world, who sometimes just want to visit the U.S., visit family members, who are willing sometimes to buy the ticket from that end. And they just go and come back for a 2-week stay or a 3-week stay. They just go and come back. So what does that say? Does Nigeria have that kind of reciprocal policy?
For now, no.
Okay.
We don't have that type of policy. And again, I want to explain that U.S. is not the first country that is coming up with visa bond. There are other countries that have implemented similar measures, and sometimes it's because of the so-called attitude of nationals of particular countries, what they have done in those countries in the past before that would not warrant them to come up with policies that we feel that are a bit draconian or not people's friendly. And again, when you talk about foreign relations, diplomacy, the personal conviction of the president matters a lot. You will agree with me that in the second coming of Trump, if I will use that term, he has been trying to come up with policies that he termed America First, Make America Great Again policies. Yeah. So this is the fallout of one of those policies. But there are other countries that I will not want to mention names that are fond of compelling Nigerians or nationals from third world countries to pay specific amount. One, they will argue that the money that you are paying is a guarantee that in case you default in your in existing the country, those funds will be used to get you back to your country. That means they will not be spending money to repatriate you back to your country, as the case may be. Nigeria, for now, we don't spend money in repatriating nationals of countries that have committed visa-related offenses in the country back to their country. We don't do that. We take it to the airport, but your ticket, you have to procure that. That is what we do. But there are I don't think any African country is even paying for repatriation of nationals that overstayed their time in their countries.
Okay,
So
but that is not a. But that then Nigeria or no African country has a visa bond for anybody coming in.
So I think, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think.
Is this something that the governments of Africa are beginning to consider?
I think we'll consider that, but basically the argument of those countries most times is that they want to use that a check against visa overstays, visa violations, as the case may be, which will not go down well with most of our nationals. For example, Nigerians are frequent travelers. We have most families that have their siblings in particular country that they want to spend holiday with them. I think there are cases whereby some persons that came for Christmas are having difficulties in going back because they are being stamped out. They received email messages that they would not be admitted back to the country. Okay. So those scenarios are not pleasant for our nationals. There are people that will suffer for it, people that are schooling that are over here, but because of maybe one or two violations in the past before their movement or their admission into the country now will be restricted. It's not a good one for us, but as Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the target is not on Nigerians alone. If you have seen the release from the American State Department, there are a number of countries that this visa ban will be implemented against. So all what we need to do is to continue to engage them. Then if there are areas that will adopt reciprocity, which is the best that we can do, that's what we are going to do.
But this is not in any way affecting relations with the U.S.?
No, for now, no. Just as I said earlier, you, as a country, you have your sovereign duty to determine who comes into your country. The best the other partner or the other country would do is to implement same. For example, for government officials that are traveling, normally the practice was you apply for the visa, you with a note verbal, then you send your passport to the embassy, then you get your visa. But I think sometime last year, the US came up with a policy that no, apart from, I think, presidents, ministers, I think even permanent secretaries have to go for visa interviews. So when they did that, we instructed our missions to carry out same. So if we have the category of their nationals in that particular range that want to come over, they too be compelled to go for interviews. Okay. So it's just reciprocity at its best. So as far as the interests of your nationals are protected, you go on with that. Right. And again, I think it's a clarion call on our government, and I believe the present administration will try to work better to make, there are a lot of policies that have been introduced to make Nigeria more comfortable for Nigerians. So we try to stay put here to contribute to our country than just thinking about Japa and all this.
All right. Thank you so much. Kimiebi Ebiénfa is a spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Thank you for coming in this evening.
Thank you.
And we do hope that we'll be able to bring you back as soon as possible.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.